So what's wrong with randomized trials? What's wrong with the way trials are being done today? And one could break down the problems into two major categories. One is that trials may not be relevant, and the other is that they're too difficult to do. So why might trials not be relevant? The wrong patient population is being studied. My uncle is a now retired cardiologist, and I remember when I was going through training and I was rather smart-alecked, and I would say to him, well, Uncle Kurt, the trial of this says this, and the trial of that says that, and Kurt would very kindly say to me, Michael, that's all very well, but I don't know who these patients are, because I don't see them. Another problem is the technology that's being tested. By the time that a trial is done, particularly a trial that takes a very long time, the technology that's being tested may be obsolete. In the case of coronary stents, the kind of coronary stents that we were putting in the mid-1990s are very different from the kind of stents that are being put in today. And then the third issue is the setting. Are the trials taking place in academic medical centers or in the community? Are the trials being done by practitioners who are highly trained and motivated, or by practitioners who are more average, or in the case of Lake Wobegon, they're more above average? Now, the second problem is that trials are too difficult. They take too long, and they're too expensive. The occluded artery trial, which was the trial that looked at stents after heart attack, that took 10 years. That trial should have taken more like 4 years, but it took 10 years. The trials are too expensive. Some of these trials go in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's almost impossible to find a large-scale trial that's not in the tens of millions of dollars. They're too complex. Case report forms go on for pages and pages, or dozens of pages. They're too bureaucratic. David Dilts did this beautiful analysis of NCI trials showing the hundreds of steps that have to happen before the very first patient can be enrolled. And then, as pointed out by the example of bloodletting and also the example of the occluded artery trial, there is conflict. And the conflicts of interest are very real. Upton Sinclair, after he ran for governor of California, said that no man is ever going to understand something when his salary depends upon his not understanding it. And one could imagine the interventional cardiologists whose salary depended upon putting in stents, they're not going to understand, or they don't really want to understand that stents may not be all that effective in a certain setting.